this what you want? This fucking foliage? Is this what you want? Mr. Dips? Is this what you want? Me standing in front of EC3 buying designer coats? Is this what you want? Me sitting in some hipster hotel in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, fluffing pillows? Is this what you want? I don't believe this. This graffiti art, the hotels, avocado toast. All I want is a fucking Guinness. An ice cold Guinness. What the hell does that mean? Oh, this is what you wanted. This is your Monday Night Raw review right here on Off the Script. What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here for the Monday Night Raw review right here on Off the Script. It is March 30th, 2020, and it was the go-home show. Everybody was already home. The stay-at-home show for WrestleMania 36, or what I am calling not my WrestleMania. Because it certainly does not feel like WrestleMania at all this year. It wasn't all negative tonight, man. I'm going to be completely honest with you. It wasn't all negative on Monday Night Raw. I know a lot of people in the community have been, including myself, have been very hard on Monday Night Raw, very hard on WWE all WrestleMania season for one thing or another, whether it's WrestleMania taking place. Some people don't care that it's taking place. Some people are in the boat of, oh, they should have canceled or postponed. Like me, I would have welcomed a postponement, no question. And I went over that several times. I am very fortunate that there is a WrestleMania. Even though this WrestleMania is going to be utter dog shit, I will try and give them a chance on Saturday and Sunday. Don't know how they are going to maneuver around the fact that there's no audience for the biggest show of the year. I don't know what WWE has up their sleeve as far as this being a taped show. And being that it's a taped show, it's in their court. The ball is in their court. They could literally do anything they want with this shit. They could do anything they want with this. A lot of these matches are definitely fitting the format of no fans, boneyard match, last man standing match, Firefly Funhouse match, whatever it may be. I'm intrigued about what is going on here for WrestleMania, slightly. The build for WrestleMania has been one of the worst of all time. I don't care if we are going through a pandemic or not. Some of these matches do not need to be taking place, pandemic or not. WWE is still putting on television. I don't give a shit if it's a pandemic or not. They're open up for criticism. I'm sorry if I'm too hard on a product that is trying their best to entertain us in this difficult situation that we're going through right now. I don't have to sit here and bypass all of the bullshit that we're seeing on television, all because I need to be a little positive about what's going on in the world today. That's not how I operate. They're putting on a show. They're giving us 3 hours. You're asking me to watch a 3-hour Raw during the Raw or during the road to WrestleMania. I'm going to criticize it as I see fit, deservedly so. Like I mentioned, it wasn't all negative tonight. And I think I speak for the majority of the community that certain aspects of what WWE has done in the last 4 weeks with these shows, these PC shows in front of no audience, some of these aspects, and I mentioned this, what I'm about to say is something I said almost similar back when WWE left their talent stranded in Saudi Arabia and they had to have that emergency NXT episode. Like it was yesterday, I said, this should be the foundation of how SmackDown should be booked moving forward. Use this as a foundation moving forward. Please WWE, what did they do? As soon as we got back from Saudi Arabia and as soon as SmackDown was able to go on as it usually does, they pretty much went about usual business. They didn't change a goddamn thing. I'm going to say it again here, even though nobody's listening to me, and whatever I say here is not going to institute the type of change that we need on the show. But I honestly think WWE needs to take some aspects from these live shows and incorporate them into the show when we get back to everything being normal. Randy Orton, Edge, Paul Heyman, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens. I wish we would have seen more. I wish we would have seen a Drew McIntyre cut a promo in this emptiness, in this empty space, without the fans really littering the entire segment up with what they usually do. I would have loved to see Drew McIntyre in that atmosphere, in that moment, like everybody else. But those are names who are, at this juncture, the top of the top when it comes to promos in WWE. Rollins, not so much, but his promo a couple of weeks back, or last week, I should say, where he called himself a god and cut that promo on Kevin Owens. It was absolutely fantastic. It was one of the better promos from Seth Rollins that I think I've ever seen. It was Kevin Owens this week that got some retaliation as far as a verbal promo towards Seth Rollins, and that came off incredibly well as well. I think WWE needs to go and reevaluate the way that they do things, because a lot of what we see on WWE television doesn't really have any meaning. It's almost as if they put shit on the show, they rush through it, they don't really take their time with it, they put it on the show, and it comes off in a way as it's simply there to fill 3 hours of television. No meaning, no rhyme or reason. Just go out there and half-ass a fucking feud for a match that nobody is going to remember the day it ends. It sucks. It really does suck. Paul Heyman's promo is what got me to talk about all of this before we get into the show tonight. I know I could sit here and say that was Paul Heyman's best promo ever. It's easy for me to say that. In fact, I will say that. It's one of the best Paul Heyman promos that I think I've ever heard Paul Heyman cut. I really mean that. And the fact that it was in front of nobody, and all you seen was him standing behind Brock Lesnar the entire segment, and that they were the last segment on a 3-hour show as we head into Saturday and Sunday's WrestleMania. Paul Heyman's promo was absolutely the most picture-perfect promo that you could possibly envision when it comes to a pro wrestling promo. Everything about it sold the match. If I didn't see one single week of build between Drew McIntyre and Brock Lesnar on this so-called road to WrestleMania, not my WrestleMania, if I didn't see 1 week of build, if I didn't see one segment at all between Lesnar and Drew McIntyre, and that was the only thing I seen as far as the build for this match, you got my money. I don't give a fuck where these guys are fighting. I don't care if it's in an empty arena. I don't give a shit if it's in the backseat of a fucking police car. I don't give a shit if it's at a Dunkin' Donuts. I don't give a shit if it's down aisle 8 at Whole Foods. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit where that match takes place. You got my money. Just based on what Paul Heyman did and said tonight on Monday Night Raw. A thing of beauty. And the promo, if it was in front of a live audience, in my honest opinion, I don't think it would have resonated with me the way that it did tonight. Paul Heyman would be there playing up to the crowd, telling people to shut up, calling people Brock Lesnar's bitch. Well, whatever Paul Heyman usually does to play up to the crowd, being that he's a pro wrestling heel manager. He didn't have any distractions. His eyes were focused on the camera, and he was looking right into Drew McIntyre's eyes, as he knows McIntyre was watching this promo in the final segments of Monday Night Raw. Absolutely no other earthly distractions for Paul Heyman during that promo is what made that promo one of the best promos you will hear all year. WWE needs to go back and reevaluate how they do things. I would love if WWE has this type of ambiance for all promos moving forward after we get back to a normal way of life. I hope at this juncture at the start of the summer. Every promo that was cut by whomever, Heyman, Edge, Orton, whether it's The Undertaker or Styles even. Styles cut a pretty decent promo as well on The Undertaker. Undertaker had a great promo tonight as well. That's what you need to do moving forward. That is the foundation of what WWE needs to do going forward for promos. Because if anything is to come out of these shows, and I love a pro wrestling audience, I really do. I think the audience is 99% of the reason why we love pro wrestling so much. It's just the energy of the fucking crowd. There's no crowd like a pro wrestling crowd, you know? It's unbelievable. This sport obviously cannot operate without crowd interaction, crowd energy, you know? Nothing without the crowd. It sucks. It absolutely sucks. This sport needs live audience. This sport needs fans like us in that arena. But if there's one thing that this situation has birthed in WWE, it's the fact that everything that was said via these individuals and their promos to get across the importance of why their WrestleMania match means so much and why I should care about their WrestleMania match. They need to take everything that they did and apply it and incorporate it into what they do when things get back to normal. Things will have so much more meaning. Fuck the crowd in that instance. Keep the crowd entertained with a segment here and there. But the majority of what happens to build matches like we've seen on this road to WrestleMania needs to be done in the same manner it was done in these last 3 or 4 weeks. I swear to God. I love it. I really, really do. And that's my piece. That's my say on what we seen on Monday Night Raw tonight. The promo work tonight alone gave me a glimmer of hope going into Saturday and Sunday. Not saying it's much, but I'm a cunt hair more optimistic. So we'll see what happens on Saturday and Sunday. But man, oh man. You know, I usually tell you, don't go back and watch anything on Monday Night Raw. It was a waste of your fucking time. In fact, most of tonight was. But that Paul Heyman promo and that Edge promo tonight, that Kevin Owens promo tonight, absolutely 5-star classic shit by all three guys. I urge you to go and find a replay or something on WWE's YouTube channel. Go back and just feel the intensity and feel the importance of their words without the audience. That's what I think WWE needs to do moving forward. I'm JD. Thank you guys so very much for joining me here on Off the Script. It is March 30th, 2020. We're going to go over the very little that happened on Monday Night Raw tonight. It's going to be a very busy week. It is WrestleMania week, believe it or not. I know some of you would be heading down to Tampa as of tomorrow morning, packing your bags tonight, hopping on a plane, getting ready to go down to good old sunny Tampa Bay. Shorts in hand, beaches on the mind, a cold beverage on the mind, WrestleCon and all these different indie events taking place. Nothing like that is happening. We're all home. As long as we're all happy, healthy, and safe, I think that's the most important thing. So I know you guys are probably a little disappointed. I'm disappointed greatly in what's going on, but the fact that I have work, hopefully you guys have work, hopefully we're all happy and safe, that's the most important thing. But Monday Night Raw, we're going to go over everything tonight like usual, in depth, and I'm glad that you guys are joining me here tonight. I seen a tweet from WrestleVotes tonight about Roman Reigns, and I might talk about this tonight. I don't really want to, but the fact that he actually released a video explaining that he's off WrestleMania, again, it just adds to the respect that I think a lot of people have for Roman Reigns and a lot of anger that people have towards WWE. It's one of those situations where, you know, I'm still very iffy on it. I came out and I did a video on Friday. Friday's Off the Script was one of the most must-see episodes I think you've seen in a very long time from me. I had to get everything off my chest because I was coming under fire on Twitter for people just really misconstruing my words. And I think I did a really, really great job at explaining myself away from the 140 characters that I only have on Twitter. The opening to that show was a must-see. And everybody that hates me, that is still wishing me death threats, that thinks I said something and I really didn't say something, or you just didn't understand the context of what I was trying to say, you need to go back and watch Friday's episode. And Roman Reigns came out and said something today about him being pulled and him pulling himself, and it's obviously a knock on WWE for not pulling Roman Reigns. But what I don't understand is if Roman Reigns' health was a priority, which I know it is. His health is 100% a priority. Number one priority. But if it was, it should have been the entire way through. When the United States was locking down state after state after state after state, and all 50 states were now covered in the virus. There were outbreaks everywhere. Roman Reigns should have been off the Mania card. Roman Reigns should have been told by WWE, we're not going to allow you to wrestle on this card just because of the complications that you could have from your second battle with leukemia. Roman Reigns should have came out there and said something to WWE 3 or 4 weeks ago. Now, yes, it wasn't as bad, but when the United States was locking shit down a couple of weeks back, Roman should have came out then and said something. He did not. Then there were reports that The Miz showed up to the taping sick. Roman pulled himself after he seen the Usos get mad that The Miz showed up sick. Roman pulled himself after seeing Jimmy and Jay, his cousins, get upset and said, fuck it, I'm not working WrestleMania. That's the report. That's what everybody is being led to believe. And I believe it. And I believe it because as of right now, it's being said that The Miz is quarantined. So if Roman Reigns' health was a priority, and he came out and stated that today on his Instagram page, why didn't he pull himself 3 weeks ago? If The Miz didn't show up ill, and The Miz was still going to be on WrestleMania's card, and the Usos did not get upset, Roman Reigns, in my God-honest opinion, would still be working WrestleMania. He would still be in the Universal Championship match against Bill Goldberg. He'd still be on WrestleMania's card in the main event. So you need to think about the situation before you start jumping on people for coming to logical, level-headed opinions on the topic. I did that. I did not go in there blindly firing guns that I didn't know how to fire. I knew exactly what I was trying to state. I knew exactly how to articulate that, and that's exactly what I did. But I want you guys to understand that it's not always about his health. In this case, it is about his health, but it's also a lot of other things as well. And I'm glad that he's okay. I'm glad that the staff is okay. I'm glad that they're at the PC, able to do what they need to do as far as get this show out there. I'm glad the workers are okay. I'm glad that they're out there doing this. I'm very proud of them to do this. I'm very grateful that they're doing this. I'm proud that everybody still has a fucking job where 3.2 million people lost their jobs during this goddamn thing. So it's not always JD is negative. I always try to bring another viewpoint to the situation, to the table. I don't want you guys out there, and this is the logic of the people out there on social media. Oh, he has leukemia. That's why he's off of WrestleMania. Yeah, great. So I could give fucking Joe Schmo a podcast, and that's his take. Oh, he's got leukemia. Great. Do you guys want to watch me come on here and say, oh, Roman Reigns is off of WrestleMania because he had a second bout of leukemia and he went into remission. He's going to jeopardize his health. Okay. Do you guys just want a very simplistic first grade podcast fucking news article or news report? There you go. I can make the video 45 seconds and bid you guys a farewell. Or do you want someone that's going to raise some questions. And I think I do that pretty damn good. And people don't like me for that. But when you hear Roman Reigns on his Instagram, I want you guys to think about what I just told you. Honestly. Anyway, enough of me bullshitting. Follow me on social media at JDfromNY206. That's on Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. If you guys want to support the podcast via Patreon, you guys know how to certainly do that. Patreon.com/JDfromNY206. If you missed any of my other content on the channel, links are down below in the description of this very video. We actually live streamed a watch along on Twitch last night, WrestleMania 20. I didn't know how awful WrestleMania 20 was. I haven't watched WrestleMania 20 since the day it aired, and my God, it was awful. But the Twitch stream was a lot of fun. Some cold beverages flowing, some cool music playing. Hung out with you guys. Almost 600 viewers strong the entire stream. So thank you guys showing up for the Twitch stream. We're definitely going to do some more. And I might be planning something for the next pay-per-view. Whoa, I wonder what it's going to be. But no matter what it's going to be, I think we'll go back and rewatch an old classic next pay-per-view as well. So thank you guys so much for that. And today's podcast is brought to you by my good friends over at Blue Chew. You guys know the deal. We'll talk about them a little bit later. BlueChew.com. Use code JD at checkout for your free sample. All you guys got to do is pay the $5 shipping and handling, and it will be discreet. Not even the mailman will know that you got Blue Chew, man. So make sure you guys hit them up. Code JD at checkout for your free sample. The Undertaker opened Monday Night Raw, and it was not the dead man Undertaker. It was not the Phenom Undertaker. It was Big Evil Undertaker. Very surprised to see Big Evil Undertaker on Monday Night Raw cutting a promo on Alan Jones, a.k.a. AJ Styles. And he mentioned Alan Jones by name. I mean, since we're being real now, for such a small man, you've got a really big mouth. I don't know if you have a big set or not, or if you're really that stupid. Either way, your mouth's writing checks your ass can't cash. I'm sure you thought by dropping pipe bombs you'd get under my skin. Son, I've heard a lot worse from far better than you. And he said there's some truths to what AJ Styles was saying. He said Styles said 10 or 15 years ago he wouldn't have wanted a piece of him. He said Styles was being content. He was content being a big fish in a small pond because he knew back then he didn't have what it took to hang with The Undertaker. Steve Austin, The Rock, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Kurt Angle, Mick Foley, Eddie Guerrero, Booker T, and Edge, the very best this business had to offer. He said, phenomenal one, my ass. You waited until they were all gone except for me. He said he is the first to admit he has far more matches behind him than he does in front of him, but he said, Alan stepped into something new. He said he crossed the line the first time he mentioned his wife. He said he thinks Styles is upset that she got his finisher over as the faith breaker in WWE and did it better than Styles ever could. He said he'll pay a price for that in the boneyard. Remember, that was your idea. He told Styles to try him at WrestleMania and he'll make him famous. He told Styles to bring the ass clowns so all three of them can feel the wrath of the unholy trinity he's bringing with him. He said he will feel the pain and he will get hurt and he will suffer and, more importantly, he will rest in peace. And then they pan the camera out and you see a tombstone graphic in the back behind The Undertaker that said AJ Styles 1977 to 2020. Now, a couple of things here with this promo. Number one, I love the fact that we are kind of deviating away from The Undertaker's dead man character. I think it's the right place and the right time for it. The dead man shtick wouldn't work here in this situation. It might have something to do with the WWE kind of deviating away from that and what's going on in the world today. They don't really want to muddy that up. It might be a little insensitive, I'm assuming is a good word to say. I wouldn't care. I just think outside of all the nonsense that we have going on in the world today, that might be the reason why WWE is bringing back Big Evil for this. I just think it's the right time for The Undertaker to kind of put the dead man away. You know, I think I like this version of The Undertaker in this setting, in this time, a little bit more than if I was to see the dead man again. We've seen it so many fucking times at WrestleMania. And the fact that at WrestleMania 33, he laid his hat, his jacket, and his gloves in the ring, and that gimmick should have died. He should have never came back as that gimmick. He should have come back as Big Evil. Should have come back as the American Badass. The rumors were going around the last couple of WrestleManias that he was about to come out on a motorcycle. I heard it again this year that The Undertaker was slated to come out on a motorcycle for his match with with AJ Styles. So I don't know what they're doing as far as the Big Evil character goes and why they've opted to bring it back now, but I like it. Just for the break in the formulaic WrestleMania, oh, we got to get The Undertaker on the WrestleMania card. Yeah, great, but I don't want to see Dead Man Undertaker. I like a different version of an Undertaker for this feud, for this time period. I think it's time to just get Big Evil over. The other thing I didn't like is AJ Styles and the Styles Clash. Undertaker says that Michelle McCool had the faith breaker and she got it over more than AJ did. I mean, I don't think anybody with a proper functioning brain would believe those words. I mean, that's a little far-fetched. That's a little ridiculous to even put into the fucking promo. I know you got to sell the match somehow. I know he's just, tit for tat against AJ Styles here verbally. But I mean, that was a ridiculous line. Nobody even remember. I don't even think I remember the fucking faith breaker by Michelle McCool. And she did not get it over more so than AJ Styles did. The other thing that I might be iffy with, but it's only a minor criticism here, is the fact that WWE brought back this somewhat tame version of Big Evil here from The Undertaker, and we seen him on the Go Home show from Monday Night Raw. Now, I know that The Undertaker needed to get something in on AJ Styles before the Boneyard match. I know he had to say something to AJ Styles after all that AJ Styles did to him. But I hope that they have something else a little bit more special planned for WrestleMania. I hope the match lives up to just being different and giving us a different vibe. And we really have a full-fledged Big Evil return of The Undertaker. The fact that we've seen the Big Evil version of The Undertaker here somewhat was kind of a letdown, and I would have rather they saved that for WrestleMania. But looking back at it, it wasn't too much, and it does leave it open for us to see a lot more of that at WrestleMania. I just don't like the fact that they just kind of threw it out there without any warning, no warning shot whatsoever. I would have much rather them save it for WrestleMania. So that was that. Very good promo by The Undertaker. I like when he's human. I like when he articulates himself as a normal human being. I think the day and age of The Undertaker cutting promos, talking about souls and digging graves and, taking the hat off and rolling the eyes in the back of the head, it's going to be with us till the day we die. It's one of the things that I remember most about my childhood. He's in my top 3 greatest of all time. So I think it's the right decision to go about Big Evil here at WrestleMania 36 against AJ Styles. Becky Lynch came out, and this is where WWE legitimately took up the entire first hour watching a triple threat match from WrestleMania 35. And we are watching this, I believe, sometime during the week on ESPN. I think, unless they already aired it. I don't know. I don't watch these replays. I don't care about these replays at all, but I think we're watching this on ESPN sometime during the week. Becky Lynch came out and showed us the entire match. We've seen a rerun of WrestleMania 35. Becky Lynch, Ronda Rousey, and Charlotte Flair for the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championships. I can't even fathom watching this match back again after watching it the first time. It was awful the first time. It was disappointing the first time. It was every bit as awful and disappointing the second time. I don't know who in their right mind thought that was a good match. I did not like the match at all. I thought it was sloppy. I thought the crowd at that point was completely fucking dead. I think putting that match on in that time slot, in that 8th hour when everybody was just ready to go home, killed the entire fucking vibe that WWE had built up for that match, and I had to sit there and watch it again. I watched it on mute, and I seen four commercial breaks that took the match all the way up until the start of the 2nd hour. Now, a lot of people are wondering, WWE trying to sell their pay-per-views to a major network or a streaming service. Can you imagine if Fox bought the rights to WrestleMania and Fox aired WrestleMania on their network? This is the product of what you'd get on Fox. This match was 25 minutes. 25 minutes of this Women's Championship match when it aired at WrestleMania. This 25-minute match was dragged up into about an hour with 4 commercial breaks. You'd get 4 commercial breaks during your main event match at WrestleMania if it aired on a major network like Fox. Just want to let you guys know that. I want you to be aware of that. This was awful. Becky Lynch said last year at WrestleMania she fought 2 champions in one match. She said the stakes for her couldn't have been higher. Facing champions from both Raw and SmackDown, she said she attacked those 2 fools. And let's take a look. And we went to a match between all 3 of these women. So at the end of this thing, it was Becky Lynch back inside the Performance Center. I'm assuming she watched or rewatched this entire match. I don't think so. I think they just, had fun with the cut. And then we go into this long match for us at home, and Becky's just next, filming the next segment there. But after the match, Becky was still standing on the stage as if she did watch the show, and said that's the first time she's watched that back. She said in the last year, history tends to follow the one who made it. She said she also gets followed by dopes who can't make their own history. She said Shayna Baszler thinks she's different than all the challengers who have failed to take her title. She said Baszler claims taking her title would destroy her, and she said Baszler is right. I have no problem admitting I don't know who I am without the championship or without being the champion anymore. She said she knows about Baszler's demons too, though. She said she walks around all cool with her low voice and cage fighter resume in her top pocket, but she realized last week she's starting to get to her. She said Baszler is going to fight with emotion and finally do the one thing that her pal Ronda Rousey couldn't do and wouldn't do. She said she can see the relief and exhilaration she'll get from beating her if she beats her, as if, for once, you'll steal Ronda's spotlight instead of the other way around. She said the other possibility is she loses and put back in Ronda's shadow. She asked Baszler, which one of us do you mean exactly when you say the person who loses will be destroyed? Baszler then attacked Becky from behind, got her with the Kirifuda clutch. From behind, Baszler swung Becky, took her by the legs, and slammed her into the side of the announce table on the stage, head first. It looked nasty. She grabbed the Raw Women's title, held it over Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch was writhing in pain, dropped the title on her, stared. Nothing more than sheer silence as Tom Phillips and Byron Saxton looked on here in this segment. This was a great segment with Becky and Shayna. Did a nice little last hurrah to sell this feud. I still am kind of iffy on the fence about it. But man, oh man, remember when I talked about those who cut promos inside the emptiness of the PC and it just really resonated with more meaning? Becky Lynch's promo did not resonate with more meaning. Becky Lynch's promo, and I don't know if Becky Lynch is not up to par with everybody else or was never a good promo. I don't understand why the way Becky Lynch reiterates things this is just me. This is my honest opinion. The way Becky Lynch reiterates and recites line after line after line after line, it doesn't come off sounding genuine. It doesn't come off sounding real. It doesn't come off something that she came up with herself. It doesn't sound like it comes from the heart. She recites it as if she was legitimately trying to memorize lines for this particular segment. The way she said it just sounded like she was reading it off a teleprompter. I can't buy it. I can't buy it. That's just the way I feel about Becky Lynch in this moment, on this segment. I could not get behind it. It just sounded incredibly rehearsed. That's not what I want out of a championship program heading into WrestleMania. I got to use WrestleMania around here lightly because it really isn't WrestleMania. But it sounded overly rehearsed, overly scripted, and the delivery of it just didn't sound heartfelt. Yeah, the words that she's trying to say, I want to hang on to them. I want to listen to them and say, you know what, Becky Lynch and what she said has meaning. But the way she delivered it, there was no importance there. The way she delivered it just made everything she said fall. That's my honest opinion about this promo with Becky Lynch. The attack by Baszler was fantastic. The sell job by Becky Lynch was fantastic. The promo, not so much. WrestleMania 35 on ESPN, like I said, Sunday afternoon at 3 Eastern. So there you go. Right before the second night of WrestleMania 36. Aleister Black versus Jason Cade. Aleister Black with another squash and another 1-minute match with a black mass. Byron Saxton and Tom Phillips hyped Black versus Bobby Lashley. And Bobby Lashley, apparently to Byron Saxton, is making Aleister Black his focus. So, listen. I don't know why this match is happening. And for all these Bobby Lashley elitists out there, so be it. The guy sucks. I don't give a fuck what people say about me when it comes to Bobby Lashley. I don't know why this match is happening. And if you can give me a solid fucking reason why this match is logical and why this match makes sense, why this match is on WrestleMania 36's card, whether it's on Saturday or Sunday, you may be the smartest man in the entire wrestling industry. If you could come up with a legitimate reason as to why this match makes any type of sense. Tom Phillips and Byron Saxton said that Bobby Lashley, word for word, is making Aleister Black his focus. Or Aleister Black is making Bobby Lashley his focus. Why? If Aleister Black is making Bobby Lashley his focus, why? Why? No reason. If Bobby Lashley is making Aleister Black his focus, how the fuck can Bobby Lashley be making Aleister Black his focus when Bobby Lashley hasn't even been on the program? Where is Bobby Lashley? Why is he making Aleister Black his focus? For what reason? Now, I can make a catering joke. I could make a Lana joke. I'm not even in the mood to make those sort of jokes because the match does not belong on a WrestleMania card. The match doesn't belong on a wrestling card, period. And that's mainly due to Bobby Lashley. Aleister Black was in a prime spot last year at WrestleMania for the first time in his career. And now he is disintegrated into a fucking pre-show match with Bobby Lashley on a card that has absolutely no hype whatsoever. On one of the worst WrestleManias that we might ever see. This is what we get. For what? Look at all the matches that they went over on this show. Do you really need that one? You couldn't save this for the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania? For when we get Bobby Lashley back on television? Maybe you could start a real program, develop a real storyline, give me a reason why these two are feuding? No, but we got to do it at WrestleMania. If you can come up with that reason as to why that match is happening, you may be. I will appoint you. I will anoint you. I will deem you the smartest man in the industry. Because I don't have a goddamn fucking clue. 1 minute, Jason Cade, goodbye. Black Mass. I don't know how that gets me excited about the match either. 2 squash matches, back-to-back weeks. Don't know. Kevin Owens and the Street Profits versus Angel Garza, Austin Theory, and Seth Rollins. Austin Theory is the new man, now taking Andrade's spot to team with Garza at WrestleMania against the Street Profits. Seth Rollins in the ring with the Street Profits again, folks. This is the very definition of why this WrestleMania season is fucking awful. I want them to use creativity. Clearly, it went right out the fucking window. Again, don't want to see it anymore. Maybe Montez Ford and Seth Rollins somewhere down the line, maybe for a major championship. Not anymore this year. It is well past its expiration date. So this one went 14 minutes. KO and the Profits win when Kevin Owens hits a stunner on Garza for the win. I love Garza. I think he's great. There really is no explanation needed there. How did they explain Andrade not being on WrestleMania and how we got Austin Theory in this match? Well, Zelina Vega came out and said Andrade suffered a serious rib injury, and according to Meltzer, it's a bad injury, but not severe. So he will eventually be back, but it was bad enough to keep him out of WrestleMania. And outside of all that, never mind the injury, I feel bad for Andrade. He has not had a good 2020. He won the United States title. He got suspended. He came back. He got hurt. He got hurt. He missed WrestleMania. Not really been a good year for Andrade at all. It's diminishing his United States or potential United States Championship run. He was given the biggest aspect of his entire main roster run in the last 6 months, and he has not been able to live up to that because of just consequences beyond his control. And now he's missing WrestleMania. If there was one WrestleMania that he should miss, it's this one. But it's still going to count in the record books as WrestleMania, and Andrade is not going to be at that WrestleMania in a championship match because he's injured. I feel sorry for Andrade. I hope he gets back and is healthy and he doesn't have any more setbacks, because the more setbacks you have, it might be a situation where WWE starts to lose trust in him, and we don't know if WWE was already in that phase of losing trust in Andrade. They might have lost faith in him and trust in him after the drug policy violation. We don't know. We don't know. He still had the United States title. That's still a nice little thing that he's got going on, to a point where we could think maybe they still do want to push him in a meaningful way, and they still want to get behind him. And the fact that he's dating Charlotte Flair, I mean, that doesn't hurt either. You know, so I feel bad for Andrade. All these things just mounted on top of one another. He's had a very, very rough year. But they announced Austin Theory. Zelina Vega said that with Andrade having a serious injury, she was bringing in a 22-year-old Austin Theory, who is the hottest free agent no more, to replace him. So that's how we got Austin Theory and Angel Garza teaming up for the Tag Team Championships. Simplistic? Yes. No thought? Yes. Does it make sense? No. It doesn't make sense. But I'll tell you this. I will say this, and I've said this time and time again. You know, I hope to God, I have no faith in these people. I really don't. Austin Theory is, by the looks of him and by the way he moves in the ring and how much he still has to fucking grow and mature. I mean, the guy has Vince McMahon superstar written all over him. I mean, it doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist to figure that one out. Just look at the fucking guy. He's got John Cena's body type. He is a prototype of John Cena back when we first seen John Cena. Just imagine what this guy could do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years from now when he's fully matured. And he's just hitting the fucking peak of his career. He's in this thing at 22 years old, and he's that good already. Now, I want to sit here and say what I've been saying about him. He's the future of the company. Could very well be. He's got everything going for him. Got everything legitimately going for him. But the one thing he does not have going for him is the fact that he came up from NXT. The fact that NXT talent on the main roster dies 1,000 deaths 9 times out of 10. Garza seems to be doing well, you know. but every single time you get someone called up from NXT, it just sends these cold chills up and down your spine. You love them so much in NXT, and then WWE does something to fuck them over, and then they lose all of their appeal. They don't look the same ever again. And then we hear them standing up for the main roster and standing up for the company. The fans get upset that they're not being pushed. Then we all collectively as a community say we want them back in NXT because that's where he needed to be. He got called up too soon. And then, after a little dick licking on the main roster and defending the fucking company and defending the creative that they give you, then he'll be interviewed and say, I wish I could go back to NXT, or if Triple H needs a helping hand on NXT, being that they're on the USA Network as a legit third brand, I'd be willing to help out Triple H whenever he needs. We don't need to cross those bridges no more. If you're calling him up, have a fucking plan for him. If you're calling him up, believe in him. If you're calling him up, I would hope that they have some fucking iota of a thing going for him. Some sort of plan. I just can't get behind NXT talent being called up this soon to the main roster. Now, all the NXT talent is going to Monday Night Raw. Has anybody realized that? Have you noticed any NXT talent going to SmackDown? This is what I don't get. I'm thinking, okay, Austin Theory is now on the Raw brand. He's fighting for the Raw Tag Team titles at WrestleMania. Why isn't a guy like Austin Theory heading to SmackDown? Or why isn't there any NXT talent heading to SmackDown? We can't overload all the NXT talent on Monday Night Raw. SmackDown is in dire straits right now. They are the drizzling shits. They could use someone like an Austin Theory. But yet no NXT talent has ended up on the blue brand. Bruce. What happened, Bruce? You don't like NXT, Bruce. Motherfucker. Anyway, another thing about this is if WWE, they could have chosen anybody. They honestly could have chosen anybody for this spot. They chose Austin Theory. If that doesn't show you the amount of trust and what they think of him already to give him that type of spot, I don't know what the fuck that, I don't know what that means. You can't get any bigger than that. The amount of trust that they've already bestowed in this guy, the fucking way the commentary team just nauseatingly just went over this guy's name over and over and over again. It's like they tried to fucking brainwash you on who Austin Theory was. They mentioned Austin Theory about 96 fucking times in his match against Tyler Breeze on Wednesday. And now here he is on Monday night. The fact that they plucked him from NXT and are putting him on WrestleMania says a lot about what they think about Austin Theory. Now, I hope this is a one-shot deal. He's used in here as a fill me in, and back to NXT he goes. He's 22 years old. If they're already calling him up for this spot, I'm sure their opinion on Austin Theory is not going to change 2 or 3 years from now. Put him down in NXT, let him grow and mature, let him learn the ropes even more so down in the ring, let him fucking learn his promo ability down in NXT. There's no reason to put this guy on the main roster at this age right now. Maybe for this show, for this moment, for this match, fine. But after this, he needs to go back down to NXT. But again, the NXT talent coming up from the brand, moving to the main roster, I have no faith. Just all you need to look at is Ricochet. All you need to know is Ricochet. Believe me. There was a moment in this match where Montez Ford was yelling WrestleMania, 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 hyping the show because Montez Ford is just a charismatic ball of fire. And he dove over the top doing his suicide dive or his tope, like a fucking flipping senton over the ropes. He absolutely fucking bowled a gutter ball on this one. Missed Austin Theory on the outside. Hit nothing but the fucking ramp. And it was a botch that I'm sure Botchamania is going to have a blast with. So, again, growing pains. Botch. Austin Theory out of place. It is what it is. It's going to happen. But at the end of this thing, KO hit a stunner on Garza. Garza took his first pinfall, I believe, on the main roster. Seth attacked KO afterwards with a stomp, and that was it. That was it. Listen, man, I know this WrestleMania season has not been interesting whatsoever. I know this WrestleMania has been weak. It's been something that's gotten everybody just down in the dumps. I know. Remember when we used to be all up in WrestleMania season? We used to be excited for WrestleMania season. It goes hand in hand with your sex life. Sometimes it's just not exciting. Sometimes it just doesn't do anything for you. But now I got something that will do something for you, and that is Blue Chew. BlueChew.com. You guys can now increase your performance and get that extra confidence in bed. Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same FDA active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. You can take them anytime, day or night, even on a full stomach, and since they're chewable, they work up to twice as fast as a pill, so you guys can be ready whenever that opportunity arises. Now, if you can benefit from more confidence where it counts, why wouldn't you take advantage of it? Blue Chew is the fast and easy way to enhance your performance in the bedroom. Blue Chew is prescribed online by licensed physicians, so you guys don't have to go to the doctor's office or wait in line at the pharmacy, and it ships right to your front door in a very discreet package. Even the mailman will not know what is going on. They're made in the USA, and since Blue Chew prepares and ships direct, they're cheaper than a pharmacy, and best of all, there's no more awkwardness. Right now, we got a special deal for all our listeners right here on the Monday Night Raw Review, right here on Off the Script. Visit BlueChew.com and get your first shipment free when you use our special promo code JD. That is just $5 shipping and handling. Again, code JD at checkout. All you guys have to do is pay the $5 shipping and handling. Again, that's BlueChew.com. Code JD to try it for free. Blue Chew is the better, cheaper, and faster choice, and we thank them for sponsoring the Monday Night Raw Review right here on Off the Script. So we go to commercial break. Back from break, Kevin Owens is leaning on the bottom rope. He said Seth just kicked some sense into him. He says he's been thinking a lot about what he said last week, and after what just happened, he has a lot to say. He said last Monday, he said while he never trained at the PC, it was built because of him. He said everybody who came through that place should be thankful to him because he built it on his back. I've actually heard otherwise, Owens says. Owens then said he heard the PC was still built in spite of him. He said he heard he was a nightmare to deal with. You knew everything about everything. You were better than everyone else. Nobody could stand you. These past few months, you have done an outstanding job proving everyone right when they all said you are an arrogant dipshit. KO said he's aware of his reputation, but the difference between them is that he isn't delusional like Seth. He said last week Seth proved he was delusional by talking about all of his WrestleMania moments. He said he called himself a god, said he was just a disappointment. Kevin Owens said those words stung and stayed with him. He said it occurred to him just how skewed his view of reality is. He said he's been IC champ twice, US champion 3 times, Universal champion. He said he was the Universal champion well before you. KO said he's man enough to admit he didn't accomplish all of that on his own because he had someone watching his back each and every time for him, each and every one of those moments, one way or another. And so did you, he said. Sorry to burst your bubble, but those WrestleMania moments you didn't accomplish on your own. You either had backup or he found some underhanded way to get what he wanted. He said on Saturday. So that is official. On Saturday, we're getting Owens and Rollins. On Saturday at WrestleMania, when they get in the ring together, their pasts don't matter. The only thing that matters is that it's you and me, finally one-on-one. Kevin Owens stood up, selling the effects of the stomp, looked into the camera and said he will show Seth he is not a prophet, a messiah, or a god. He said he will beat Seth, take my first WrestleMania moment from you, and he said he will burn it down. That was a fantastic promo. Look at what Kevin Owens did here. And then look at what Becky Lynch did and the way Becky Lynch recited it and reiterated it. And look at what Kevin Owens did here and how he recited it and reiterated it. It had balls. It had meaning. It sounded natural. It sounded from the heart. It sounded important. I loved it. This was fucking great. Again, the last 2 weeks with Rollins and Owens. Not only do I think WWE needs to refine their way about telling these stories verbally when they go back to having normal shows. This was tremendous. But man, oh man, I shit on this feud and this storyline more so than anybody else in the entire community. To this day, I still don't know why they're fighting. But if you did not show me anything between these two guys, and you only showed me last week's promo by Rollins and last week's segment, and then you showed me this week with Owens, and not even this match, just the fucking promo. If you showed me their promos last week and this week, you got my money. That's how good these promos have been. Absolutely tremendous stuff by Kevin Owens. Speaking of tremendous, this was fucking phenomenal. This may have been one of the best promos of the entire career in Edge, or for Edge. Edge sat in a darkened room inside the Performance Center, and he sat backstage, and he said Randy was probably right when he said Adam Copeland was a junkie for Edge. He says it's not an ego thing, but rather he loves the feeling that happens when his music hits. Alter Bridge, Miles Kennedy. I mean, who doesn't love it, you know? Who doesn't love it? When his music hits and the arena explodes, he feels a connection. I'm one of them. I came from them, he said. Let's face it, man, we're all junkies for this. Today, a 13-year-old kid sitting 11th row ringside for Hulk Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania. He knew then, if you're not a junkie for this, then you're just taking up my space. You're in my way. He said they clearly have different definitions of the word grit. Titus has a different word for the word grit as well. It's served for breakfast. Edge's meaning for the word grit is it means being handpicked by evolution and coasting on his own family name. Coasting off and on with spurts of magic for the last 20 years, just okay with being okay. God damn. Holy shit, he really went for the jugular on that one. Don't get me wrong, okay, for you is better than most, and that's a Hall of Fame career, but to me, grit is a definition of a man that'll reach down into that hole and pull somebody out who probably doesn't deserve it. Grit is refusing to be in evolution because you don't want to be someone's lucky. Grit is forging your own Hall of Fame career. To me, grit is thinking how to get back here for 9 years. Edge says he was mistaken when he said Randy Orton was jealous of him. You're not jealous of me. You're jealous of my passion. He said you cannot fabricate it. He said you either have it or you don't. He said the only time Orton has passion is when he's around, when Edge is around. I make you better, he said. I push you. I motivate you. I light a fire under you. Everyone else sees it, but you. Everyone is talking about it. This is the best Randy Orton has ever been. The last time Randy Orton scratched being this good was 9 years ago. That scares you. I inspire that passion in you, and that feeling scares you. You don't know what to do with it. If anything, you're a junkie for the way I make you feel. But you listen to those voices in your head that can't handle this feeling. They told you to make a horrible mistake, Randy, and you listened. He said he almost had him believing that the Rumble was enough closure for him. But then he put his hands on his wife and uttered the names of his little girls. You pulled me back in, Randy. You accepted a last man standing match with me, a man who will dive face first into a flaming table, thumbtacks lodged in every part of his body, just to grab that torch that you took for granted. I love that Mick Foley match. I really do. One of my favorite WrestleMania matches ever was that WrestleMania match with Mick Foley. Lita lighting that flaming table on fire and Edge being speared through it with Mick Foley. And at the end of the match, Edge just dripping in blood from his face, shaking because he just got fucking burned, thumbtacks lodged in his body, a thing of fucking beauty, man. It really was. You dug yourself another hole, Randy. This time I'm not going to pull you back out. I'm going to push you so far in you will never get back out. Man, the line where he said, everybody is saying Randy Orton has never been this good. This is the best Randy Orton has ever looked. And he said, in 9 years, Randy Orton has never looked this good. Why has Randy Orton looked this good? Because of me. Because Edge came back and is doing this with Randy Orton. He implied that Randy Orton has not looked good in 9 years. Randy Orton has not looked this good. You know, the last time Randy Orton looked this good was 9 years ago. Why does he look this good? Because of me. This has been the best WrestleMania feud all year. WrestleMania, quote unquote. Fucking phenomenal promo. Owens, Rollins, Edge, Heyman. Look at this. This entire situation without crowds on Monday Night Raw. Even on SmackDown, Bray Wyatt, can't take anything away from him either. He had a great promo with John Cena. That first stare down that they had when Cena came back to the empty arena. Unbelievable stuff. The different presentation and the silence of the PC and it being so different. Again, it just lends to the overall importance of these storylines. Honestly. I truly think WWE needs to go back and reevaluate everything that's going on here. And with this promo to be the go-home, a thing of beauty. I don't really know what to say about this. I mean, all I can say, honestly, is that I hope the match lives up to everything we have heard from these two men. I really, really hope so. If not, I'm going to be very disappointed. But this has been fucking phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. It pains me for Edge because of the body of work that they have put into this, the level of passion and dedication that they put into this, the amount of love both of them have put into this. Even Beth Phoenix doing what she did to sell this storyline. Matt Hardy was even a, cog in the wheel in this thing. Everything about it was just fucking great. It pains me to know that Edge and everything that's happened here, how fantastic it's just materialized into. He's not going to be in front of a live audience. And again, I hope the match is going to live up to everything that these two guys did. The last man standing match might be the stipulation that just really makes this thing stand on its own and really ends up being the best thing on the entire 2 nights. The last man standing could actually be a catalyst in making the match better. The no crowd thing might make the match better just because of the intensity and the realism and just the overall feel of this feud that's already been presented. It might be enhanced with no audience. I'm hoping that's what it is. I'm hoping that's the case. This was absolutely fucking phenomenal by Edge. Go and watch what a wrestling promo should be. Asuka versus Kayden Carter. This one went 1 minute. Kayden Carter from NXT. Asuka, I don't know what Asuka's gimmick is. She's a dancing fucking fool. She got on the microphone and said nobody's ready for Asuka. Kayden Carter had her death wish signed. Asuka lock. That was it. They went to Tom Phillips and Byron Saxton on camera, and all of a sudden we see Asuka on the commentary table yelling gibberish. I don't know what the fuck her new gimmick is. She's acting like a complete fucking clown. And then they confirmed that the women's tag team titles are going to be on the line at WrestleMania. It's going to be Asuka and Kairi Sane versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. So you know when your bathroom break is going to be on Saturday or Sunday. Don't really understand why this match is happening or why it's on the show, but here we are. So we got Rhea Ripley arriving at the Performance Center when Charlotte attacked her at ringside, or not at ringside, outside. She was arriving to the Performance Center. Charlotte came out of nowhere and big booted Rhea Ripley into the garage door that was closed. Adam Pearce comes over. You know, Adam Pearce gets more TV time than Mustafa Ali, Bruce. We see more of Adam Pearce breaking up these fucking situations than we do see Mustafa Ali. So Charlotte big booted her into the garage door, and that was it. That was it. If there's one feud that sucks going into WrestleMania, it's Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. I could not give a single iota of a shit about these two women and this match at WrestleMania. So much for having the Royal Rumble be something of a grand prize on the road to WrestleMania season. How do you dilute and make the Royal Rumble victory worthless? Look at this feud. There you go. Brock Lesnar versus Rey Mysterio was shown from the Survivor Series. Excellent match. I loved that match. The spot with Dominic and Rey doing the double 619, and then Dominic doing a fucking frog splash with Rey doing a frog splash back to back, and getting that near fall on Lesnar was fucking phenomenal. Lesnar ended up winning with an F5, and they replayed that match just to give you a glimpse of how dominant Brock Lesnar has been. Paul Heyman was in the ring. This was easily the best thing on the show. This was my favorite promo, and it was very difficult for me to choose. Paul Heyman's promo was the fucking creme de la creme of promos on this show. And Edge and Kevin Owens had fucking tremendous promos. Paul Heyman and Lesnar stood in the ring. Heyman introduced Lesnar, who was obviously doing his thing, just standing there with the WWE Championship. Heyman stood behind him. Heyman says he believes in the magic of WWE and doesn't want to pull the curtain back. He said they are proud of embellishing and exaggerating to market to their audience. He said they are living through the most unique time of their lives in this lifetime. They call this the Go Home segment on the Go Home show before WrestleMania. He said the person who stands there more often than not is Brock Lesnar. He said year in and year out, he is the best to slay, the conqueror to conquer, the one to beat on the single biggest show of the year. He said, this year, Drew McIntyre has truly stepped up. My compliments, sir, he said. Much respect to you. He said, Drew compared to the dumbass in the gym who says, oh, I could do that WWE stuff. And then Paul Heyman says, no, you cannot. Drew is special compared to that guy. He pointed to the back and said, Drew, compared to everyone back there, is special. He said The Rock is special, but Brock beat him the first time he went after this title. He said Hogan is special. He brought up Hulk Hogan too. Brock beat him, and he wiped Hogan's blood right across his chest like he was a fucking Viking. He mentioned John Cena, The Undertaker, Shane Carwin, UFC fighter Randy Couture, UFC fighter. He mentioned them as icons who stood above all other icons, but when they got back into the ring against Lesnar, they ended up not so goddamn special, and they bleeped out goddamn, which I don't understand. They might have had a lapse of judgment in the editing room, because just moments before this, Kevin Owens yelled dipshit to Seth Rollins, and here we got Paul Heyman having goddamn bleeped out on Monday Night Raw. Give me a break. So he said, not so goddamn special. They all ended up being not so goddamn special. He said the Claymore kick is special, but so were the big finishers from all those big names who failed to beat Lesnar. Now that Brock Lesnar knows the Claymore kick is coming to him, one of two things is going to happen. He said Lesnar will counter the Claymore kick or eat the Claymore kick, and then they will find out the Claymore kick can take down Brock Lesnar. Heyman said what he is about to say is not a promise or a spoiler. He says it's a guarantee. He said next year on the Go Home segment, on the Go Home show before WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar will be standing here with the WWE title over his shoulder. He said Drew had a great story to tell. He's more compelling than others because he's the right guy in the right place with the right look at the right time. He said he'll go down too, though. He said this year at WrestleMania, Drew walks in special, but he walks out just like everybody else. Nothing more than Brock's bitch. fucking phenomenal You got to go and watch the way Paul Heyman delivered the promo, and the ambiance of the empty performance center just played into the fact that all these promos, Heyman, Edge, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins the week before, Bray Wyatt a couple weeks back with John Cena. Unbelievable stuff. Really just unbelievable stuff. This was probably, and it has absolutely nothing to do with the in-ring stuff. It was the verbal stuff that's really made this Monday Night Raw stand out as the best of the empty arena shows so far. And that's more on Heyman, Edge, Owens, Wyatt, Rollins, and all those, Orton, all those who have braced the emptiness of the PC and cut some of the best promos in their entire career. Just awesome, awesome stuff on what was a completely missed go-home show. But if there's one thing to take away from this, it's that promo work on this show alone was absolutely fucking fantastic. That's my take on Monday Night Raw. Thank you guys so very much for all your support. If you did enjoy the video, hit that thumbs up. Follow me on social media at JDfromNY206. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. If you missed any of my other content, the link is down below for each and every one of those videos. Patreon.com/JDfromNY206. And I will see you guys back on Wednesday. More wrestling content on the channel. I might have something tomorrow. We'll figure it out. I got to get all my notes ready for Off the Script this weekend. I will keep you guys updated on what's going on this WrestleMania weekend. Going to be a big weekend, and I'm glad you guys are here to join with me on WrestleMania week. Thank you so much. Again, hit that thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. I'll be right back on Wednesday with more content on the channel. Until then, guys, have a good night, and I will see you all on Wednesday for Dynamite.